Hello. Oh, hello. And welcome to a retroactive look at Torchlight 2. This is my character. This guy's name's Onyxiboy. I forgot you to press space to do this. There's so much I used to not know about this game. I used to play this a couple years back, and even there was a short series on my channel that never really took off with my interest. A little short hardcore series. I didn't actually even die. The character's still in this file. But, just a game that I feel like has been outshadowed by Diablo ever since Diablo got better. Especially since I don't think Torchlight 2 has had any updates since it's a while after its release. So I just wanted to, take just a moment to reminisce with this type of stuff. This was the map where it's effectively like the end game place where you just go to find everything. There's vendors here that sell all sorts of stuff, and this guy sells a map that goes through, different maps that go through dungeons. Increased magic finding luck. I'm just gonna go with this one. I guess I'm level 100 anyway. The game, I feel like it didn't, when it came out, definitely it beat Torchlight. It beat, Diablo. In terms of just raw, good gameplay. Also, the screen shake. Oh, there I go. Alrighty. Resurrect here. But, yeah, this game I remember being a little bit hard. But, turns out, it got a little bit overshadowed by Diablo after all the patches came out and the expansion that made it a lot better. I do remember that rain skill, though, really good at just wrecking people. What are my stats here? 71% crit chance. It's pretty good. At least I feel like it's pretty good. Remember I used to play, I'd have these guys run around, and basically, I think this guy... Cooldown. This is duration, does it say? Duration. He is... Not actually sure. I feel like it's 30 seconds for some reason. I should engage my buffs. Got one that increases movement speed and I believe attack speed. Yeah, a little bit of attack speed, but mostly movement speed. So I could just, do that. This is also a game that... It had a lot of, strengths over Diablo, just because it allowed you to perfectly pick your build how you wanted to, like in Diablo 2, which a lot of people enjoyed harkening back to, because a lot of people enjoyed Diablo 2. I remember those guys' charge was really nasty because it reflected things back at me. Yeah, this is definitely a game that is a bit more like Diablo 2 than Diablo 3 was. It's got this little system that every class has this little charge that builds up charges you do stuff in combat, depending on what class you are. Mine, I just get, flat stats for doing damage. Pretty sure. Yeah, but just by damaging enemies, get flat stats. It's pretty good. Also, there's a mana system that everyone has in this game, as opposed to their resource system that runs in Diablo. There's already been a ton of actual looks at this game, but coming back to it before, back then when people reviewed this game, Diablo 3 was pretty crappy in its entirety. Didn't have anywhere near as interesting of gameplay or loot at the time. Classes didn't have a lot of change, and legendary set items didn't do that much. There was just not a lot to it. So back then, this was the action RPG to play, because all the other ones were uninteresting. And then I guess Path of Exile came out a little bit later, but at the time of this thing's release, I'm pretty sure this was one of the best out there. Gotta use a mana potion there. Interesting that my AoE move that I use to kill everything doesn't really have much of a cooldown. It's mana limited, so I can end up doing a lot of damage to things. Although stuff that reflects, I remember, just killed me instantly because it would reflect all my damage back at me. And I don't have anywhere near as much health to take that. This is on New Game Plus Plus, by the way. But it was a different time back in that genre. And now that Diablo's gotten better, I've sunk probably 5 times as much time in Diablo as I have in Torchlight 2. I don't know if that's exactly a bad thing. Torchlight 2 has its limitations. If you look at my gear here, none of these have any, these are supposed to be some of the best items, or better items in the game, and they're all at the highest quality, and they don't really have much of, a change. These things give bow range and crit damage. They don't have, the stuff that Diablo does now, modern days, that it's an item you get one and it changed your whole playstyle. It makes your main ability cool down 80% faster or something like that. Or something silly like that. Which I feel is something that Torchlight 2 couldn't really rise to the occasion of because they didn't have the backing of Blizzard's income to really, like, step up to their competitors. But at the time, Torchlight 2 came out pretty well. Oh, I remember. These guys. Nice, you can enchant items in here. Yeah. You just, like, tossing it, just do some money for an enchantment. Money in this game, unlike Diablo, though, is incredibly sparse. Like, you want to pick up everything because they make you want to use your money, and they make everything kind of expensive. So that you always value having money as opposed to stuff like Diablo, where you didn't really value it so much. Especially my character right now, I have hundreds of millions of gold that I would never use on anything. And I kind of prefer a system that I could be rewarded for having more gold. This game, though, very stable. And honestly, getting into Diablo can be a lot more expensive. Looking at the way it plays, I remember having a lot of good times with this game and learning a lot about it and the way that everything works. And honestly, the game's really competent for what it is. It's just comparatively to the AAA game that Diablo has become. In terms of this thing. Also, chests are trapped and sometimes they're mimics. But, in comparison to Diablo, it can't be as great, but just as an action RPG, it feels good and it does everything you need to do. It just doesn't have all the bells and whistles that modern day stuff has happened. As competitor, which it used to beat, now now it has exceeded its own expectations. Well, I still think there's a place for a game like this, especially in the cheaper market, because Diablo, like playing it right now, is going to run you around, I think, $20 for the original and $40 for Reaper of Souls, so it's still at a $60 price tag, which is the same price tag it had when Torchlight 2 came out. Torchlight 2 on release was $20, and I believe it's probably gotten lower than that by now. So stuff like this is really, it's really valuable now comparatively. Sure, you could play Diablo more and have a lot more fun with it, but that's an opinion of my own. You could have more fun with Diablo if you wanted to. There is more variety, and there's a bit more support for different playstyles. But I feel like I haven't explored enough of the playstyles in this, because I really only have this max level character compared to all the other ones. But I don't know, I like the fact that in Torchlight, I felt like I built my own build out of a list of things I had, and in Diablo, sometimes the gear you get kind of defines your build for you. And that's not so much a bad thing sometimes. It's just I definitely feel a bit more special having this own build of mine set up that I didn't really look up a guide for or anything. Or my gear didn't really influence me in that direction. I just kind of like looked through everything and got it. But although there's a problem with Torchlight is that every time you level up, you pick a skill, and then after you take that skill in, you have 3 levels. Let me change the map here. This is the way I always liked it. I should rebuff myself, definitely. I've gotten out of practice with this character. But after 3 levels of having a skill locked in, you can't get rid of it. And the only way to actually change the skill is to download an unofficial client that allows you to respec your skills that I had to do to get my character the way I wanted, because I put a bunch of skills into a talent I really didn't want, like later on, and it turned out to be utterly worthless. And I think that is the thing that Diablo has over this game, is that it's a bit more forgiving, and you don't need to like you can just swap out skills whenever you want, as long as you're not in combat. But then again, like, a lot of my abilities feel satisfying, and I don't feel like I need to have a wide array of abilities to change up my playstyle to feel better about it. Although that can be a problem as well. Because not having a wide array of abilities that you need to use all the time can really hurt your enjoyment of the game. Also, there's hardly any health regen. I think that's just from items somewhere. I feel like I've got some sort of health regen from an item. Also, you actually want strength. As a bow guy, it's actually nice. I don't know how far we are actually into this dungeon. Come on, there we go. That reflect can be really bad sometimes, man. I'm so front-loaded on damage, if it reflects my damage back at me, it'll just kill me in one hit. Which is a bit of a flaw in my own build. But I like being so damage-focused, kinda. I wonder if my pets will follow me to these stairs down. I should give this game an extra playthrough. Oh, this is good to teleport into the boss. So... oh, that should be a teleport to the boss. There should be a boss somewhere. Oh yeah, that's the Wraith. Now, he can probably kill me in one hit. Because I'm so focused on damage. Although if I play this right... I can take him out. Okay, so that was one hit. I'm not dead yet. The screen shake makes it feel really nice to get the massive crits, though. And speed up to go around through here. Also, something I should explain the mechanics a little bit more. You can find out random spells in the game, and stuff like this. My speed boost I just found on the ground, and any class can get it. Got stuff like increased magic finding luck, ranged weapon damage, stuff like that. Also, another important part that I forgot to mention, which I think is just to press P. This is my pet. He's usually a leopard, but he's got his own set of spells, so he's just basically like a summon bot. He gets his own set of gear, and he has his own inventory, and I can just say that I'm in the middle of a dungeon somewhere. How do I... P. Okay, just P. P. So I can look at all this gear I have that I don't want, and just like siphon it over to him. Not that I need to do this, because I'm already done with the dungeon. But just as an example. I could just do this, and have him go back to town and sell everything. And give it back to me. I can even send him to go get stuff on a shopping list. And that's really cool. That's really, they thought a lot about this. I wish that they had this stuff in Diablo, because that would be so useful for not having to ever go back to, like, really get stuff. Like, I wish I could just have, like, an auto-salvage type of thing. Yeah, different food you can feed your pets that you get for fishing that I showed you earlier. Gems to socket stuff in. This type of pet system, you do lose your pet in the time he goes, and that does kind of suck. But by the time that... Well, while you're doing that, you can just go, like, do extra stuff and just fight things on your own. And it feels really good. I even got a mysterious sword, which I need an identify scroll to identify. Lifespan. So I can wield that sword, but I'm not really adept at it because I'm a ranger of sorts. But that's just cool. That's what this has over Diablo in some ways, is the things have a lot of stats on them when they drop legendaries. Like, I remember the first time I started, like level 13 or so, I got my very first legendary bow, and it was amazing. And it would just destroy things. It had like 1 billion stats on it. They were all kind of good. Which, back then in Diablo didn't happen, but nowadays, Diablo has a few more legendary drops. Now I can go back to here. And I can sell everything that my pet has. There's my character menu. So I could sell that and get a lot of gold from there. This is all just random gear, but I like gamble stuff on actual gear here. If I wanted like a new bow, I could buy this. And it's the normal bow. I'll just put it back into his inventory and sell it for like much less than I paid for. Which is nature. You can also get a cannon, that's pretty nice. And a shotgun. Shotgun's actually handled like a real shotgun as this game. As you notice, this game has like actual basic attacks, so these attacks just do 100% normal weapon damage and no special powers or anything. That actually makes shotguns really cool. I can just buy one to have an example. Is there a shotgun that I can buy? No. Is there just a shotgun in here? This is a shotgun. So you also have weapon sets, so I can equip this. And that's how you like normally fire with a shotgun, is it has a different arc and the weapons mean different things, which is actually quite nice. So, let's just give that back to him. For, again, much more cost than I needed to pay. I don't remember what to do with legendaries. I think you just sell them if they're not good. Legendaries, unique. That's what they are. Pet and mini now. Either way. I think that's everything with Torchlight 2. The story's alright. There's not much to really write home about. I think I actually skipped all the cutscenes playing through all of it. That might be why I don't enjoy the story. But that's Torchlight 2. I actually really enjoyed playing through this game a while back. And it was a lot of fun. I spent a lot of time into it. And I think, in comparison to Diablo, if you really are strapped for cash, the Torchlight is a fine pickup for this still. Its price point still is pretty great compared to its competitor of Diablo, whereas you could spend more time in Diablo theoretically if you like this game's art style a bit more or something like that. There's definitely different stuff in there that makes the game more enjoyable in certain paths, in certain ways. Either way, I very much enjoyed this game, and I hope you guys will too one day, if you're ever going to buy it. Thank you so much for watching.